Welcome to the Luxe Leap. My name is Raylan Logan, and we chat about women consultants making bold moves, big wins, and the secrets to extraordinary branding. So I have a question. Have you ever felt overshadowed in a room where your voice should be heard loud and clear? If you're a woman navigating a male-dominated workplace, you know all too well the challenges of asserting your expertise and securing your rightful place with confidence and authority. Samantha K. Harris is here to change that narrative. With over 30 years of experience supervising men in high-stake environments, she's no stranger to the dynamics that often silence capable voices. As a consultant, speaker, and certified life coach, Samantha has dedicated her career to empowering women to trust their voices, own their space, and break free from the cycle of seeking external validation. She's the powerful force behind the Rooted in Your Confidence podcast, where she offers women insights, strategies, and real-life conversations aimed at fortifying their presence in challenging workplaces. Through her coaching, corporate training, and signature workshops like Stop the Mansplaining, Samantha provides transformative tools that equip women to speak with authority without ever over-explaining, handle interruptions and dismissive behavior effectively, because we all know what that feels like, and set boundaries confidently without fear of backlash. Her work transcends typical empowerment. Samantha partners with organizations to foster environments where women are not only secure, but are respected and valued, helping companies retain female talent and proving that when women thrive, workplaces flourish. Get ready to elevate your professional life as Samantha shows you how to assert your space and amplify your voice. Please welcome the advocate for workplace equality and just all around badassness for women, Samantha K. Harris.
Well, thank you, Raylan, for that beautiful, beautiful intro. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you. I'm ready. I'm ready to
my
talk
goodness.
about all the things.
Well, I am so happy to have you. And like I ask everybody who pops on here, because otherwise I would dive into 100 conversations that nobody's ready for yet because they need context. But why don't you give us a little bit of background on what inspired you to start your brand? Give us the brief Reader's Digest version of why you're here today.
Well, I'm here because you invited me, first of all, and thank you again. So when I've worked in this environment most of my career, I've been with the same company 32 years. Hey, I've been working in this environment where it's always men. And I know what it's like to shrink, to feel small, and still be capable, still be able to do the job and see other people, meaning the male counterparts in my job, rise to the top, needing my help, wanting my help, asking me for it, and yet and still I'm passed over. I was looked over and told me, it's okay, we have something better for you later.
Of course.
And I see so much of this happening with other women. So I was tired of being looked over, passed over, not saying anything. Saying anything is worse than being passed over. So if you're going to pass me over, then I get to talk about it. I get to let you know that I'm here. I see what you're doing and you're no longer going to do it. But I do know also, as I've grown and started using my voice and they know that I'm capable and they know that I'm going to speak up, they use me to make sure things are in the right place. So my perspective is valued. My brilliance is valued. So I've made the switch, and so have they, because they've learned to recognize all that I am and all that I bring without me compromising myself.
That's really beautiful because I think many women, and hopefully not very many women behind us, have experienced that feeling of, I do all this work, and why did Joe get promoted when I do more than half of Joe's job? And it's exhausting, it's heartbreaking, but a lot of it does come from us not speaking up. And when we do speak up, one of two things are going to happen. Best case scenario, they're going to listen and it's going to create change. Worst case scenario, we're going to be told that we are too emotional. And heaven knows I felt everybody roll their eyes and their stomach drop and get real angry in under 20 seconds. But not even 20 seconds, 0.2 seconds. But what was that pivotal moment in your brand's journey that really defined What made you speak up?
What made me speak up? Well, it's two, to be very honest, if I start talking about it. First of all, building that confidence in my own voice, in my own power. And that was when I had my direct reports telling me that I wasn't their boss, telling me I wasn't supposed to be in charge, telling me what level I should be at. So when I decided to speak up, when I decided to say no more, when I letting them know it is unacceptable, they were taken aback. Their feelings was hurt. They were emotional,
Of course they were.
of course. And the chief I had at that time, he said, "Oh, Samantha, well, you can say something and you can correct behavior, but you can't be so animated." So
Animated?
instead of emotion, I was no longer emotional at that time. Now I was animated.
Oh, so
Yes.
they wanted you to be a piece of paper?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And so I had been given this sign. A friend of mine, he had given me this sign that sits in my office to this day. It says, "Behind every successful woman is herself." And when I went back to my office that day and I had that pit in my stomach, and I feel like I was probably walking around in a daze, deer caught in the headlights look. And I remember looking at it and I saw it. And it was something that switched in me that day. I have to have my own back, because I remember being that person that said, nobody has my back. Nobody ever stands for me. I was always looking for someone to do something for me or show up and show how brilliant I was instead of looking inside of me. So that right there, that moment where I felt small, where I felt unseen and unheard, I realized it was me. That day that I wanted to slide underneath the desk and not be seen by anyone. And it was a shift and it was growth in that moment. So I started doing the work. And as I did the work, I started speaking up more. I started believing in myself. As I tell women that I work with, I got my own brag bag. You got to pick one up, you got to have it. And I had a manager who had brought in a friend, and he was trying to explain that, hey, well, what Samantha does isn't that important. Yet I run 102 pieces of equipment, 102 pieces of men. I respond to emergencies with my team, and I know where each and every one of them. Anything that they need or want, they come to me, they ask me. I am the right hand of my chief. And you mean to tell me now, because you want to impress this young lady that's your friend that you brought in, you want to say I'm nothing. But in the same breath, you tell her whatever you need, ask Samantha.
Hmm.
And it's as if my body went I had an out of body experience. I was like, absolutely the F not. Absolutely not. Not today. And I drank this pomegranate tea. I was drinking it, and it's just like I was clutching it so hard. And I looked and I said, "Are you talking about me?" And he was like, "Yes, I am." I said, "No, you don't get to put me down to build anyone up." And from there, life shifted. I grew. He was angry. And yet I'm still here. I still get to stand in my truth and my abilities and my values. I stand in my own integrity.
I just think the metaphor of you having tea in your hand, and you're like, I'm going to spill the tea for you right now, here and now, honey. We're done. We're done.
We're done.
Like, I'm sorry you're in your feelings, but we're not going to be rude today. We're
Mm-mm,
not going to be dismissive today. We
mm-mm.
are not going to do any of these things that it is made to think it's okay.
Yeah.
To women, especially Black women, we're not doing it, sir.
Mm-mm.
So take your little honey right back where you came from,
There you
because
go.
it's not happening. And I think that ability to stand your ground, to be fundamentally putting the boundaries in play, is one of the most impactful and important things that if somebody who's listening right now, if you learn nothing else from this conversation, it is standing up for yourself and holding those boundaries. I coach a lot of businesses, in addition to building brands. And a lot of the things that I always tell folks is, listen, your reasons won't get you results. All right. So all these excuses of like, poor me, or like all these external environmental things are happening to me. Nope. You have a choice. You can make your own choices. You have to be your own advocate. And sometimes we have to figure that out in some of those hard stories like you just shared. And um, that's really powerful. to use that also as a catalyst to get you to where you are today.
It is because it helped me build my confidence within myself. Because, like you're saying, it's a lot of times we come up with excuses that tell
Mhm.
us why we should not, why we aren't able to, why we shouldn't, why someone else should.
Yeah,
And I think we pour into other people because we don't know how to pour into ourselves. So, learning that in itself is the key.
it's a hard lesson to learn, and unfortunately, it usually happens when we're all at rock bottom.
Yes. Yes, that moment when it's like, I can't take anymore. I
Yeah.
don't know what else to do. Or, and what I've noticed is a lot of women in male dominated industries walk away because they can't take it. It hurts too much. It's too much pain. They feel like they're suffering. Everything that's happening is happening to them instead of for them. Because if we allow ourselves to know it's for us and not to us, then we walk differently. We step into it.
Yes. We need more women to step into their power. More,
Yes.
more, all of
Yes.
us, everybody, rallying cry.
Yes.
More of us need to step into our power. It's just going to change the way the world we live in operates.
I think it's the fear.
Hmm.
Um, Fear keeps us from stepping into it.
Yeah.
If I got time, I'm gonna tell you what happened. So about 2 weeks ago, I went to a self-defense class. A friend of mine was having that for her organization, and I attended. And the instructor said, "Don't run, never run." And
Mm.
it hit me like a ton of bricks. That's what we do in life. We run away from things because we're afraid. That's when it grabs us, meaning an abductor or
Hmm.
whomever grabs us, hold us. They can do whatever they want. But if we face it, if we step into it, and we put our tools that we learn, that you and I teach every day, that's when we conquer.
Yes.
That's when we become victorious.
It's so wild that you use that as an example, because I use that as an example for one of the positioning classes that I teach. I help statements are ordinary. I don't use that portion of self-defense, but I use the portion of where they talk about yelling fire and
That's
how
right.
I help doesn't help nobody.
That's right.
Um, but I tell this story. I don't think I've said this story on this podcast. So when I was 8, same age as my son is right now, I'm like on my bicycle in our apartment complex, and I'm for some reason not with my little sister. That's the wildest thing in this story that I vividly remember. My little sister is not with me. I'm by myself. And I'm going down this hill as fast as possible, Samantha. Like, when your bicycle pedals are more turning you than you're turning them. And wind's going in my hair, and I hit the speed bump, and I go face forward over those handlebars. I crack my front 2 teeth. I am laid out in the middle of the road, and I'm crying. I'm 8. I'm scared, and I'm yelling for help. Because when you're 8, that's like what you do. And I'm yelling for help, and nobody's coming out to help me. And this lady finally eventually comes out, and she looks at me and she goes, "Oh my gosh, sweetie, I'm so sorry. I thought you were just one of the little kids playing. And so it wasn't until like a ways into it. I'm so sorry. Let me get you home." She helps me home. I remember my grandmother had made my favorite thing for dinner, and I couldn't eat it because my front teeth hurt so bad. And that always stuck with me. Fast forward 10 years later, I'm getting ready to go to college, and my parents put me in self-defense. And I remember very vividly the instructor saying, "You have to yell fire, because when you yell help, people will actually not come to you because they want to stay safe. But if you yell fire, it is assumed that you're somewhere safe and away from the fire, so they will come to you." And when I heard that, like, the reason I tell this story is now I share that story of why people should not start their positioning statements with "I help," because you're just playing in a playground of LinkedIn and nobody's taking you seriously. You got to light a fire under them. And it's crazy how self-defense classes for women have so many stories that align with how you should approach business.
How you should show up, how
Mm.
you should really face it.
Yeah,
You're no longer searching and going around it. You're right here, front
it's
and center, honestly. And as you told that tooth story, you and I, besides being amazing Aries together, have the same story
you're kidding me.
because I don't know if I was 8, if I was 9. I was sitting here. That's why I was smiling, because I was at my best friend Melissa house years ago, and I'm riding down the hill, pedals, and I hit a bump, and I went over the handlebars, but not just my front teeth. I bit all the way through my, because
Oh.
I used to,
Yeah.
and I went all the way through. And like you, I got up and I'm walking now. Everyone's coming around me. It's just, when I tell you that in itself is like a scary moment, but the fact that we both was able to get up,
Yeah.
and even though people came to help us, we still,
Gotta get it back up.
yes, yes,
It's powerful to think of like how these little moments teach you how to show up for yourself.
absolutely. It
And if
is.
everybody could avoid hitting speed bumps going down a hill on a bike, like just do it. It's not fun.
Please, not
Like
at all.
for people who have lived experience, don't do that.
Exactly.
It's not fun.
No.
So, looking into the future, as we've spent a lot of time on our bikes in the past, what are your long-term goals for expanding your brand's impact?
Oh, okay. Well, my goal is to working with corporate or with state and government agencies to help them understand that the perspective that women brings is so important, and when you give them the support that they need, it will help their business. And that means their bottom line, their dollar, to grow. Because when women feel supported and they feel that they have a voice instead of being caught up in all of the microaggressions that happen, and it's not about training the men to treat women, it's about educating the women on what they need and in the power that they have that will help elevate these companies.
Yes. Women need more agency within the workplace. And I think about it, when I was little, I didn't know this at the time. Like I won't be that old this week. But it women just had the right to have credit a little bit before I was born. Women were starting to become more than secretaries when I was a little girl. So we haven't had a lot of agency in the workplace if we're being very honest. Let alone the world is still more familiar because we expect it at my age range. But diversity within the workplace is honestly a newer concept.
This
It
is
is a
so true.
newer concept. It is like the America as a whole. I cannot speak for, Europe and any other Western civilization, but to have women and people of color in the workplace has not actually happened for that long, if we think about it.
No.
Like, really, truly having people who don't look like the status quo and leadership roles probably really started to shape in the 70s and 80s. Now,
Yes.
to my 8-year-old, that sounds like when dinosaurs roamed the
Well, he don't want to know about my age then. We'll go with
earth.
that. We'll say that.
But he's 8. We don't want him to live in that world.
No, not at
So
all.
it's kind of wild that we have to help them create this impact, but at the same time, it has to happen because it's never happened.
Exactly. Like you, I'm going to say I was born in that era when women were just allowed to have bank accounts without their husband or to buy property.
That's
And
right.
no matter how, it hasn't been that long ago. I don't care, no matter which way you look at it, turn it or twist it, people sometimes in their 50s aren't mature enough to make moves independently without other support. So you think about, we want a whole world to change in the way they think, and overnight, without starting with ourselves as women. We have to be the change makers for ourselves. We can't expect other people to do it for us. But we have to understand why we have that fear, or we have that point and pivotal point in our lives where we're like, maybe I shouldn't be hesitant, because this is all we know. And patriarchal system has taught us that we don't matter. And especially a black woman, we're thought of as the lowest of the low, you know? And it's not our own fault. And be very honest, at the end of the day, we were taught to be supportive to everyone else. You think about even during the voting rights, we had to have our hands in our man's back, keeping it a
Mhm.
buck. And then we also had to figure out on standing in the middle. So we stood in the middle of women and men, but
Yeah.
we as black women wasn't even supposed to vote. So they only brought us on so that they could have their vote matter. So it's so many things the world has taught us, and it depends on your culture. It's so
Mhm.
many different things in between that keep us stuck, and our mind doesn't mean to be there, but this is all we know.
It's trained, it's learned behaviors.
Yes, we've been conditioned
Yeah.
to show up the same way, and which has been passed down over
Mhm.
generations, and that's why feeling safe is the key. And that's why it takes so much confidence to use your voice. And not having a voice means you're not sure and steady in everything that you want.
Yeah.
Oh, I get
It
really excited.
it's 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 one of those moments in times where you don't know what you don't know until you don't know something. Everybody try to write that down and figure that out. But it's true. Like, m your mom, your grandma, like, it was a very codependent, "I have to get married." Independent women were rare,
Correct.
and shunned if they were.
Oh, yes, because they still are in this day and
And they
age.
still are. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so it's unlearning those behaviors, but it's also scary for our male counterparts for us to have that power because they've never seen it. So when you show it, it's like a not for all. I live in a household of men who will do nothing more than ensure that my power is like highly, highly coveted. But that's not the norm.
No.
It's
It,
not the norm. And so this is big change that has to happen for the world.
you're absolutely right. I think back over time. It was funny. Super Bowl Sunday, to be very honest, I was talking to my oldest brother. I have two brothers. And my oldest brother, as I was talking to him, I said, "You're the way you are and you think the way you do because you have me. Your sister is so strong and because of the work environment, and you don't like the way I've treated, so you treat women differently, blah,
Mhm.
blah, blah." And his wife also worked in a male dominated industry, blah, blah, blah. He was like, "That's not true." And I was fighting my position, I was standing in it. And he said, "Our father was a different type of man." And he was so, when I had to think about it, he always supported my mom. He
Mhm.
always pushed her to the front. So it depends on how you were raised. But I look, my grandmother, his mother, had to be strong, was
Mhm.
out there doing things differently because my grandfather lost both of his legs in the coal mine. So this was always something, how he was raised and what he saw. So
Mhm.
you think about it, everyone started shifting, changing, not because of something so tragic, but my father was so progressive in his thinking
Mhm.
back then because of circumstances.
Yes.
So it just takes a switch, and people do things inherently over and over, making it a tradition. But we get to change traditions that no longer serve us.
So true. So true. I would like the world to try to tell May Logan that she had to take the back seat, which is my grandma. Like that not happening. Not here,
Mm-mm.
not today, not next week.
No.
That woman rules the world.
Yes. I think, but isn't that amazing how you picked that strength, that energy from her, and you
Yeah.
were able to stand in that? That's a win.
And that's what makes it different. I mean, my grandma was her oldest is a daughter. All she had after that were 4 boys and 4 rambunctious boys while I'm at it. But my dad was also who was like, meet this judge in her chambers, meet the CEO, meet this like other woman who's doing incredible things. Look at what she's done for herself. It was never like, look at her husband and her. It was always like, look at what this woman has achieved. Look at what your mom has achieved. Look at what your stepmom has achieved. So it also took my dad being that person that I didn't understand. Truly, honestly, I did not understand that women were made to play small until I was in my 20s. And I was looking around, I was like, why are you talking to me like that? I don't get it.
No, it's the truth. Because again, This is what we see. We've been conditioned.
Mhm.
These are the norms of society. And this
Yeah.
is what we see. What do we see? And even to this day, magazines, TV, you have to look a certain way, show up a certain way. What are women doing in any book? And I love books. Let me just say that.
I
So,
love books.
everyone, I love to read. But if you read a good drama, the woman is always sacrificing herself.
Mhm.
She's always giving up a job. She's never, it's very rare. Now, maybe modern books, but before, in order for a woman to have anything, she had to sacrifice something. And that teaches women unconsciously, because that's what we're programming ourselves to do, what we read, what we see. So, learning that we get to show up differently than even what we're reading. But it takes us, it takes understanding who we are and why it's
Mhm.
happening.
Yeah. It is, man, it's a topic I could talk about for hours. Like, hours. I mean, we wouldn't have this podcast if I couldn't talk about it for hours
Come
because
on.
it's it's quite frankly annoying. Like, it's annoying, but it's annoying because I was not raised to play small.
Hmm.
Um, it took for me, it took a little bit of, I don't know if you went through this too, because you were kind of raised that like women are capable and strong, but like it took me entering in at my 20s and almost getting like kind of smushed down, like you're too big for your britches, for me to feel that for a little while and then come back and say, no, no, I was where I needed to be the whole time. It's your turn to catch up. And I had to like refine that again. Um, and so, and what's funny is I was never really in male dominated spaces.
Well, let me
I
tell you
also got
something.
it from women.
Wow, it's funny. I did a speaking engagement, and I was surrounded by women who talk about this and how women aren't supporting each other, um, which is mind blowing and mind boggling to me, because I just believe if we support each other, we can do so much.
Mhm.
But I was not always this human. I don't ever want to pretend that I was. Hey, no, it's not. No, I did. I allowed my environment, being intimidated, being afraid, thinking I'm going to lose something, because that's the first thing, especially women in male dominated industries feel. They're going to lose because there's only one or two of us, or as we're the only one. So someone is not going to allow us to stay, or they're not going to allow another woman to come.
Yeah.
So, yes, I was quiet. No, I didn't always use my voice. And I think about it. My father was strong and he had his belief system. My mother, she was from one part of the South. He was from a different part of the South, where she believed in supporting, being there. And even though he pushed and motivated her, I think it's a difference between care and love. I think my mother cared. I
Mhm.
think my father loved. Even not,
Aw.
not that my mother didn't love me, but that's what she poured in. And I think that's what women are missing. And that's why we do go for the self care, to patch up all the wounds, to get rid of all the hurts. We disguise it instead of facing it, because the
Yeah.
truth is, if we're loving ourselves, if we're showing up, and that's what my father poured into all of us. He poured that love, like, you can do it. You can do this better. What? You want to play the piano? Okay, we're going to get you 10 pianos. You're going to play them all, see which one fits your fingers. You want to play basketball? And he showed up and he told me how great I was. He told me what an amazing woman I was. He believed in me. Where my mother wanted to keep me safe, protect me. Well, baby, it's going to be all right. They want to pat your knee. They want to
Mhm.
pat you up, make sure you're okay. Oh, come on now. You need to make this bed. That's gonna make you a good woman. All the things
All
that
those
what
little things.
society says makes a good woman. Where my father was allowing me to be.
Your whole self. Your whole
Yes.
self.
Yes.
And that's such a beautiful thing to be able to show up as your whole self. Um, I have a little boy and he'll say things like, so and so so bossy. And I'm like, let her be. She's gonna be a future CEO. And I say it all the time. I'm like, don't I will even tell people, like, don't squash her joy. Like, I
That's
live
right.
for it. Let her be as sassy as she wants. Give them as much fire as she can possibly pour at them. And never ever take that away from her because it's going to serve her well one day.
Exactly. That's what I say about my granddaughter. She's 8. Um, and I just want her to be as bold as she can be and brave enough. And my favorite thing is when she's upset. No, let's talk about it. I want to know why you're feeling. because I need her to be able to
Mhm.
articulate what is going on in her mind so she can understand that's why she has the actions and that's why she's feeling all the feels. Me being able to do that later on in life, I had to figure that out. She doesn't have to because I'm teaching her now.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, my friend, I've loved our conversation. I know we're getting close to time. So I have two questions that I have to ask everyone, or this title would make no sense whatsoever. And that first question for you is, my friend, what does a luxurious day look like to you?
A luxurious day
Mhm.
is me. Oh, goodness. There's so many ways. I had a luxurious day yesterday. So being able to, yes, being able to put on my clothes, not the ones that the world says to put on, the ones that I feel good in, look good in, bold, beautiful, surround myself with those like minded humans that believe in themselves and don't need me to elevate them, but they elevate themselves, and the ones that let me be who I be. So that's a luxurious day. And when we're standing up shouting and just enjoying ourselves, having a little extra fun, that's a luxurious day for me.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That sounds like the best day.
It is.
Everybody has like the best luxurious days. I don't even think I could rank all of your luxurious days at this point in my life. I'm like, yeah, that sounds right. That sounds really good right now. Like, you
Yeah,
want to go to a party? Let's go to a party.
let's
Like, that's
party.
the first thing that just came in my mind. It is
Yes.
birthday season though.
Yes.
But my last question for you, and it's one of my favorite questions as I have really enjoyed this, but how would you define your business in one word? Like, what are you trying to achieve in one word?
In one word. Oh, let's see. Um, Courage.
Courage. Why?
Courage, because that's what it's going to take for us to get ahead. Courage isn't about everyone around you, it's about you. So it's leaning into your courage. Courageousness is going to allow you to stand.
I love it. I love it. So, everybody, find your inner courage, really get up and go do something for you. Go do that scary thing and do it for you. Create those strong boundaries, do what it takes. But, Miss Samantha, how can people connect with you? What is the best way to reach you?
The best way to reach me is info@samanthakharris.com. The K is spelled out Kaye. My website, Samantha K. Harris. The K is spelled out again. So, or you can catch me on LinkedIn or Instagram, Coach Samantha K.
I love it. And she's being really, really nice, everyone. But if you are questioning how your confidence is working for you, or if this conversation made you think a little bit differently about how you show up, she also has an incredible quiz that you can take as well. Can they find that on your website? Or I will also have it in the show notes.
You can find it on my website. It's right at the top. As soon as you hit the top and it pops right in your face and it's blinking so that you can tap into and understand why you aren't being as courageous as you want to be, as confident as you want to be in the workplace and in life. And it's going to give you all that you need to kind of see if you are willing to make the steps, because it has to be your will to step forward, to step in and embrace.
I absolutely love it. Well, thank you again so much for being on the Luxe Leap today. It was a joy to have you. Thank you to all of our listeners and anyone who is a new listener. Thank you again. I'm Raylan Logan, your host, and I bring on incredible women like Samantha to share their stories about how they are making bold moves and big wins to lead to extraordinary branding. So have a wonderful day, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank
Bye.
you.